SpaceX's Flight 12 is almost here. New pad, new rocket, new goals. Ship 39 is preparing for rollout. The Secretary of War is visiting Starbase, and Jared Isaacman casually unveils a Lunar Base Build to happen before Artemis III. There is a medical emergency on the ISS. My name is Felix, welcome to What About It. Let's dive right in. Starship updates. Welcome back to Star Trek. Starbase. Yep, that is a thing now. Starbase. We are still hunting that launch date for Starship Flight 12. The only things still missing are Booster 19, a fully functional and tested Pad 2, and don't panic, Ship 39. And we have massive progress on all these fronts since my last video. Let's start with the biggest scare in recent weeks. Don't listen to fear-mongering headlines, don't panic. I'm sure you remember the scaffolding going up all around Ship 39 inside Megabay 1. Big outlets speculated that Ship 39 might lose its entire heat shield again. I didn't report this for a simple reason: a visual assessment of the shield itself. It's honestly the best heat shield I've ever seen come out of Starbase Megabays ever. So, here's the first great news for today. It was exactly what I suspected. SpaceX workers took a look at every single tile. The entire heat shield got inspected inch by inch. And there are very good reasons for this behavior. SpaceX wants to catch ships. It's one of the biggest goals for 2026. And to do so, they need to have two good Starship flights. Two flights that go up, go half around the planet, re-enter undamaged, and perform a soft landing in the Indian Ocean. Now, you might ask, have we not seen this already? What about Flights 10 and 11? Those look great. They brought us some of the arguably most epic-looking images and videos in spaceflight history. We love seeing battered and scorched starships soft land in the ocean. And then came the generational shift from version 2 to 3. And this reset the clock. Flights 10 and 11 used largely different ship and booster designs, so they don't count much toward the reliability of a version 3 Starship. Everyone back to the starting position, please. Even though we've seen two great launches and landings in succession, we will need two more with Starship version 3. To avoid starting from scratch and to avoid problems caused by acting too quickly, SpaceX seems to be very focused on triple-checking every component. So they checked every single tile on Starship 39 before it will roll out for testing. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the same again after cryo-testing and static firing. There is something else fascinating about this image. More on that later. Scaffolding goes up, thorough checks commence, and scaffolding will go down again. This will likely continue until SpaceX can ensure minimal errors during shield installation and that a thorough automated system is in place for faster checks. In fact, we are seeing the same behavior in Booster 19. While teams are busy fleshing out systems and getting everything ready for a cryo test, which should now only be days away, we are seeing them tackle a big and consistent problem with new procedures. These COPV tanks caused a lot of headaches at Starbase in recent months. The Ship 36 explosion and the Booster 18 rupture were both likely caused by them. To be more precise, by ground handling mistakes. They are very reliable if you can make very sure that the composite overwrap, which they derive their name from, is absolutely not cracked. No cracks. Any carbon composite is very brittle though, prone to cracking. Travis Sorensen captured some of them being transported between Massey's, where they now test these COPVs in a controlled environment before they get used on a prototype and the production site. This is the first close-up image of them having this red stuff around them. Upon closer inspection, it looks like a separate safety wrapping. Braces under it. Very secure. All this didn't even exist before those two dreaded incidents of Ship 36 and Booster 18. All this might have been avoidable if proper ground handling procedures had been in place. Proper procedures. That's what it comes down to. There is a threat looming over you and your loved ones, but what might that be? It's the dark side of a place where we all spend endless hours every day. The internet. And you know that I am no exception here. Vulnerability to digital threats is a concern for everybody. It's not just about you, and I have found an ideal solution to protect my entire family. Today's sponsor, Surfshark, offers a universal VPN solution for your digital protection that is simple to use. Did you ever want your own personal security guard? Surfshark is ready to do that job for you in the digital world. The Surfshark 1 cybersecurity package includes a built-in antivirus to protect you from dangers like data worms and Trojan horses. Surfshark's got your back, handling everything for you, including proxy emails, instant alerts, even a fresh start if your data was compromised. It not only protects you at home or on the go, you can use it on as many devices as you like, covering your entire family with one license. Set a new and high standard for your family's security. Go to surfshark.com/Felix or use code Felix at the checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. The link is in the description and in the pinned comments. Surfshark, your data, your rules. Alright, proper procedures in place, back to SpaceX. This is not to say that SpaceX did things wrong before. Their fast and agile process is what makes all this possible in the first place. But sometimes you find steps that just need to be done in a slower and safer way because they reliably cause trouble if you cut corners. So no more cutting corners on COPVs. SpaceX wants to make things count more, find a balance between cutting corners and slower procedures where needed. And the reason is obvious. SpaceX wants more results and milestones met in 2026. That's also the reason why we've seen lots more activity on this guy, Ship 39.1. It is Ship 39 hardware and test tank number 1 for this design level, 39.1. It was rolled from the Star Factory to Megabay 2, and while it was being rolled, you could spot the reason for its move into the Star Factory after recent cryotests at Massey's. They added docking ports to the mix. The same ports you can find on Ship 39 can now be found on S39.1, presumably to test the design even before Ship 39 gets a chance to do so. Play it safe. Again, it has already been rolled to Massey's for another round of cryotesting, now including those orbital refueling ports. And once that is done, we can expect SpaceX to roll Ship 39. If you want to help us make even better content and fly more often in our helicopter, hit the subscribe button to stay informed. Like this video if it brought you value and become a wise supporter for those extra heli flights. Be our fuel, chat with me and gain more insights into the topic you love. Thank you very much. And back to Ship 39. It'll roll immediately once testing on S39.1 is done. It looks absolutely finished by now, ready to prove to SpaceX whether version 3 ships are a sound construction or a fixer-upper. The same goes for Booster 19. I expect it to be ready for a round or 2 of cryotesting by now, but it hasn't rolled out yet either. Same reason here, its corresponding test tank isn't done with testing yet. Booster 18.3 in this case, meaning that it's the same design as the ruptured Booster 18 or Booster 19 in Megabay 1, and it is test tank number 3 for this design. And it is testing the new integrated hot staging ring. On January 9th, a ship aft section was lifted on top of the hot stage section again, and then the cap was lifted up as well. This completes the torture sandwich. Now, SpaceX will need to add tie rods to the setup so that the can crusher can push down on the entire assembly while the tanks are filled with cryogenic liquid. As can be seen on Avid Space's cameras, they've already lifted one up, but then lowered it down again for unknown reasons. I'll keep an eye on it for you. What's also missing, and I promise that this is the last element, is Pad 2. Without it, there is no Flight 12. And there is huge progress. On our cameras, you can see that last week they finally installed all the clamp arm doors, which completes the major components in the new OLM ring. They've also tested the new chopsticks extensively. Several days saw movement and test protocols running on them. In my last episode, I showed you that the ship quick disconnect arm extender was lifted and mated with the rest of the arm. For the past few days, teams have been busy finishing this up as well. It is hard to estimate. At this point, I'd say that the pad is 90% done. As soon as Booster 18.3 finishes its crush test, and as soon as Booster 19 has finished its cryotest campaign at Massey's, we'll see a first static fire on this brand new pad. It honestly feels like Flight 1 all over again. Everything on this next test flight will be new. It's going to be incredibly exciting. If SpaceX manages to finish 2 flights without problems in a row, the door opens for a first ship catch. If you want to see how SpaceX is doing at Starbase from the air, visit redlineheli.com/Felix, $25 off for anyone using the link. The Redline helicopter team will show you the same Starbase views our photographer gets on his Starbase flights. Incredible views. Last but not least, I want to talk about something that recently happened at the highest levels at Starbase, Texas. This video was shot by Travis Sorensen on Highway 4 leading to Starbase. Looks important. This is Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. He's right now doing the so-called Arsenal of Freedom tour. He and a few other senior US politicians are touring various high-tech companies, including Rocket Lab and SpaceX, to inspect, discuss, and draw conclusions. And they are not much going to established names. They are touring Rocket Lab, XAI, SpaceX. The reason for this is rather simple. According to Hegseth, the goal is to end consolidation and a risk-averse culture that has been dominant in the defense industry since the end of the Cold War. Procrastination. Musk spoke as well and said that SpaceX's main goal is to make Star Trek real. While this is a very easy to understand statement, its essence is absolutely true. Building and mass-producing thousands of fully reusable super heavy lift rockets per year, establishing bases on the Moon and Mars, and enabling humanity to routinely and cost-effectively access space will create the basis for just that. Don't think Captain Picard and Klingons. But if we ever want to venture out to explore our solar system and, after that, the galaxy, that is the next step, and SpaceX is working on it. I'm mentioning this because there appears to be a significant shift underway in the US. One that I'll talk about in more detail later in this video, and one that is very close to my heart. If we want to achieve all this, we will need to act in an agile manner. We will need to move fast, and we will absolutely need to take risks. Those are strong words. He even went so far as to make a very clear statement that legacy prime contractors are archaic, slow, and won't do in the future.
You know, we had a series of helium leaks that we dealt with during the CFT, the crewed flight test. We have various materials in test right now to improve that seal on the helium interface at the flange of the thruster. We know that we get some permeation of oxidizer vapor across, and the seal that we had was not very robust for oxidizer exposure.
That they're years behind schedule with 10 times the cost it should have. Again, very strong words. He stated that if you don't accept failure, you never fail and thus never learn. And that this would be the reason why Starbase, Texas was his most important stop on his Arsenal of Freedom tour, to assess what SpaceX has built and what they can contribute to a better future for the United States of America. He basically summed up why I started my channel. SpaceX's Starship is so much more than just another large rocket. It is so much more than Neutron, New Glenn, and Stokes Nova. Do not get me wrong, I love all these other companies so much. They have the same core principles. They all want to develop faster, better, and more future-oriented. That said, there is only one place where this is fully realized. To a whole new level. Starbase, Texas. Creating thousands of starships and having them fully reusable is where we need to get if we want to venture out. To anyone at SpaceX watching this, and I know you do, thank you so much from all of us for leading the effort, for being the cutting edge of what's possible, and for not giving up despite setbacks. You can do this, we're all here to cheer for you, you rock. Last but not least, here's a little nugget for the end.
Yeah, 6 little nuggets.
The ship's static fire stand has rolled from the Massey test site toward the production site around midnight local time on Tuesday. And you know what else happened? Ship 39 is attached to the Megabay 2 gantry crane via the load spreader, getting ready for a lift. Are we closer to a version 3 ship cryo test than we think? Let me know in the comments. Are we rolling? 2026 is full of firsts, but this is one we all would have preferred to never see. NASA has decided to bring the entire 4-person Crew 11 back to Earth earlier than planned. But why did NASA decide to take this drastic step?
Yesterday, January 7th, a single crew member on board the station experienced a medical situation and is now stable.
On January 7th, a single crew member aboard the ISS experienced a medical situation. One that was serious enough to force NASA to take a step that was never necessary in the 25 years of ISS operation. NASA Chief Medical Officer James D. Polk confirmed the condition did not arise from any injury in pursuit of operations.
This actually had nothing to do with the operational environment.
The astronaut in question was determined to be stable, but NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman described it as a serious medical condition. He further explained that
the capability to diagnose and treat this properly does not live on the International Space Station.
The capability to diagnose and treat this properly does not live on the International Space Station. This ultimately led to the decision for Crew 11's early return. At the moment, it is not clear whether Crew 12 will be accelerated or when it will be launched. For now, all that is left to do is to keep our fingers crossed for a full and speedy recovery of the affected astronaut. For the time being, ISS operations are being maintained by the International Soyuz MS-28 crew: Christopher Williams, Sergei Kuznetsov, and Sergei Nikolaev. One thing became clear during all this: we are experiencing a whole new level of NASA transparency under its new administrator, Jared Isaacman.
Alongside industry and academia, we must uncover the long-awaited promise of pharmaceuticals, biotech, on-orbit computing, anything that can contribute to and perhaps someday entirely justify the cost of maintaining inhabited orbital outposts and generating value far in excess of what it costs to operate in space.
It's been less than a month since he took office, but the reshaping of NASA's culture is already evident. Within 24 hours of the medical incident on the ISS, Isaacman called a short-notice press conference directly addressing the situation while protecting crew privacy. He also invited journalists for a half-day review of the Orion heat shield, a rare example of opening NASA's technical discussions to the public. The spacecraft's heat shield fared worse during Artemis I than expected. After Orion touched down in December 2022, NASA engineers noticed that the Avcod heat shield layer had chunks missing. Whole chunks. We're not talking about a couple of chips. There were over 100 areas on Orion's heat shield where thermal material had worn away differently than expected during the spacecraft's re-entry. Avcod is nothing new, and the agency has extensive experience with it. It's an ablative material that dates back to the Apollo era, designed to char and gradually burn away during re-entry, protecting the capsule from temperatures exceeding 2,700 degrees Celsius. During the Artemis I re-entry, the heat shield experienced breakage in charring areas. That is contrary to its design. Engineers determined that as Orion was returning from its uncrewed mission around the moon, gases generated inside the heat shield's ablative outer material were not able to vent and dissipate as expected. This allowed pressure to build up and cracking to occur, causing some charred material to break off. After a thorough investigation, NASA identified the culprit: the skip entry trajectory chosen for Artemis I. Between dips into the atmosphere, heating rates decrease and thermal energy accumulated within the heat shield's Avcod material. NASA faced a choice: replace the already installed Artemis II heat shield, which would likely cause years of delay, or find another solution. Artemis II is soon, so you can guess they went with option 2. They changed the re-entry environment. For Artemis II, it's modified to reduce the time the heat shield spends in the problematic temperature and pressure ranges. This might not be mandatory for future missions though, as the manufacturer Lockheed Martin is adjusting the manufacturing process for the heat shield. For future missions, there is a hardware fix incoming. NASA has now released a list of 16 potential launch windows for Artemis II from February to April. The earliest option is Friday, February 6th. And that is totally not gonna happen. Unfortunately, there is bad news for all those hoping for a daylight launch of the SLS for Artemis II. Only one of these 16 launch dates would be a daylight launch window. And Isaacman keeps surprising. In a recent interview, Isaacman made clear that NASA aims to have the beginning of a moon base ready for the astronauts. Wait, what? Now that is a huge announcement coming from the head of NASA. It paints a whole new picture of what we should expect to happen before the next crewed mission to the moon's surface, planned for no earlier than 2028. That's in like 2 years. While the mission itself still involves SLS, this statement makes it clear that Isaacman is confident in NASA's commercial space transport partners' ability to independently launch payloads to the moon. So how would they get something like the beginning of a moon base out there before Artemis III? The two biggest among them, Blue Origin and SpaceX, have contracts to build landing vehicles for NASA, and the latter faces the greatest pressure to deliver on its promise. SpaceX's elusive human landing system is the chosen craft for the lunar landing during Artemis III, and NASA will not accept an unproven craft. The HLS Starship variant will have to prove itself in one or more robotic landings before it can ferry astronauts to the moon's surface. But performing test flights and landings does not exclude delivering useful hardware. Quite the opposite is true. It is rumored that Starship HLS can deliver more than 100 tons to the moon. That is plenty enough capacity for a moon colony starter kit. Now where can I get that on Amazon? Welcome back to the Y Countdown, your rapid-fire look behind the curtain at everything that keeps this channel blasting off. Today I'm giving a tour of the studio, something that people wanted to see for a long time. It isn't big, but it does the trick very, very well. So this background here, for example, it's just cloth. Many people think it's some sort of green screen or something fancy. No, this is just cloth, and you can see it's hung up here. It's pretty easy. All the models you can see here. I know the names of everyone who has given me a model for this studio. All of these are from different people. This cap here, this Stokespace cap, was given to me by Andy Lapsa in person. So all of the things in this studio have some sort of memory that I connect with them. This is a little trophy that my youngest son achieved for being the cutest in a contest, and I put it up here because he's super happy to see it on every episode. That's things you just don't see when you're watching the episodes. We have the Starship heat tiles. We have a very, very old Mars globe that my dad gave me before. So everything here has its own history to it, basically. Yeah, well, on this side here, you have my working area. It's a large height adjustable desk, and I don't use the height adjusting nearly as much as I should. We have a German-speaking Iron Man. Have you ever seen something like that? Look at this, look at this. Yeah, I brought him from Germany. So yeah, he's very American patriotic, even though he speaks German. Yeah, we have tons of screens, 2 smaller ones, 1 normal size and 1 ultra wide, so that I can do my streaming. This is from where I stream from when Starship launches are going on, and so on and so forth. And that's basically the entire thing. Everything recording and scripting wise happens in this room. Next time I might show you my wife's workspace where she edits, because I think that would be interesting for you as well. All right, that's it. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being our rocket fuel. We're all in this mission together. And that's it for today. Smash the like button, subscribe for more. This is what fuels the algorithm, and this is how you can help us for free. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. Our brand new Raptor emblem design and countless others are there for you to explore. Click the card or the US or worldwide link in the description. And if you want to know how SpaceX managed to build Raptor 3, the new Starship powerhouse, and what makes it special, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode.